Welcome to Fractal Islam, a branch of Scientology, a branch of the Temple of Zucca. These are writings and readings by me, Abe Zucca. You can check out my artwork at zuccagallery.com. You can come into my gallery in downtown Phoenix at 1301 Grand Avenue. You can also Google the name Abe Zucca and see what comes up. Please like and subscribe. Most important, ask questions in the chat. I will answer them. Let's begin. Being, space, and the edge. Restlessness. Human life is structured by a restless oscillation between pleasure and pain, a refusal to remain still in the presence of being. We know how to leave ourselves alone. Rejection. Every attempt to improve or alter the present is a rejection of the present. Rejection of the present is rejection of being. To reject being is to reject oneself. Immediacy. Yeah, you can, if you're in Phoenix, you can check out my bookstore. There is one in Abe Zucca Gallery. You can check out my artwork at zuccagallery.com. Google the name Abe Zucca. This YouTube channel was just started about a week ago, trying to build a group of thinkers and researchers that are into the topics I want to talk about and what I have written about. The soul is the organ of experience and the site of transformation. It is the instrument through which being perceives and celebrates itself. Top 5 books. Any book written by Stephen Connor. Top 5 books. Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass, Emerson's essays, Michelle Serres' The Mingling of the Five Senses, Heidegger's Being and Time, and I don't know, a collection of the poems by William Blake. I think that's 5. To inquire is to realign the focal setting. Inquiry opens the lens through which being becomes aware of its own depth. True understanding is not mental comprehension, but direct awareness of what is. Essence is not something within, it is the true nature of presence itself. Being's purity as lived immediacy. Essence is what remains when all self-concepts are set aside. Fractal Islam is a branch of Scientology. It's also a branch of the Temple of Zucca. There's other branches too, like this book right here, Cusp, Traces, and Veils. These are more meditations within the genres of Scientology and Fractal Islam. Space is being. Space is not absence, but the very ground of existence. What appears as emptiness is fullness beyond measure, the invisible matrix of all manifestations. All perception arises from a focal setting that determines what appears solid and what appears open. To change this setting is to open new spaces of reality. Beyond every bounded perception lies a more encompassing openness. Great space is not beyond us, it is within and through us. The dimension in which all dimensions arise. Every manifestation of being occurs as an edge. Borders are conceptual and ideal, precise, abstract, and linear. Boundaries are lived, porous, dynamic, and indefinite. Boundaries, unlike borders, belong to what they enclose. They are not separations but thresholds, passages through which being exchanges itself with the world. Vagueness is not a defect, but a truth of form. The world's edges are fluid because being itself is fluid. Indeterminacy is a mode of presence. Space projects itself into space. What appears as object, event, or thought is space revealing itself through forms. Well, like and subscribe and share with your friends if you like this type of stuff. It's only going to get deeper. These are the beginning books. I have 50 other books I've written that only get deeper into these axioms. Spaces are concentric and hierarchical, each higher space more inclusive, more accommodating, more transparent to being. Lower space is a condition of fixation, the setting in which appearances seem opaque and separate. It governs perception through hidden laws until inquiry exposes its relativity. To ascend from lower to higher spaces is to increase one's capacity for accommodation, to allow more of being to appear within awareness. To allow more of being to appear within awareness. To allow more of being to appear within awareness. At the highest level, all distinctions between subject and object, form and emptiness, border and boundary dissolve. Great space is not beyond phenomena, but there in its very substance. Great space is not beyond phenomena, but it's there, its very essence, its very substance. Every act of knowing is an edge phenomenon, a boundary between the known and the unknown. To inquire is to move the edge, to soften the line into a living contour. Map and territory. Representation, whether conceptual or cartographic, is always an imposition of border upon boundary. The map simplifies the terrain, but the terrain itself remains amorphous and alive. The Mississippi is not a line, but a living boundary, mutable, permeable, fluid. To represent it by a border is to mistake movement for fixity, being for geometry. All horizons are thresholds, neither here nor there. They mark the limit of perception while inviting its transcendence. Freedom is the capacity to dwell without resistance at the edge of perception. To live where border becomes boundary and boundary becomes sky. The journey of inquiry is both the longest and the shortest. One travels only far enough to arrive where one already is. The journey of inquiry is both the longest and the shortest. One travels only far enough to arrive where one already is. The journey of inquiry is both the longest and the shortest. One travels only far enough to arrive where one already is. To realize essence is not to go elsewhere, but to return to immediacy. The end of the journey is the rediscovery of the present as infinite. Containment and release. Every border closes, every boundary opens. The interplay constitutes the rhythmic pulse of manifestation, contraction and expansion, form and dissolution. The axiom of compassion and geometry. Perfect form belongs to the intellect. Living form belongs to being. The circle and the river are one when the mind ceases to impose the line. The spiral. The path of the soul is a spiral, not linear ascent, but recursive returns. Each revolution opens deeper dimensions of space, closer to the origin that was never left. The path of the soul is a spiral, not linear ascent, but recursive return. Each revolution opens deeper dimensions of space, closer to the origin that was never left. Geometry of consciousness, being, space, and edge. The field of being, the restless field. Human consciousness lives in a continual oscillation between desire and aversion, forever altering its own service to avoid the simplicity of the present. Our lives are characterized by an inability to dwell. Every movement of improvement conceals a subtle violence against what is. We believe we seek freedom, but we actually flee the stillness in which freedom would appear. We believe we seek freedom, but we actually flee the stillness in which freedom would appear. We believe we seek freedom, but we actually flee the stillness in which freedom would appear. This oscillation between wanting and rejecting is the turbulence of a self unaware of its own medium. The principle of non-missingness. Nothing is missing from the present moment. Absence is a mental construction superimposed upon plenitude. The present is complete, but the mind functioning as a narrow lens defines its completeness as lack. To rediscover being is not to add anything, but to cease rejecting the immediacy that already includes everything. To rediscover being is not to add anything, but to cease rejecting the immediacy that already includes everything. The soul is a mirror of being. Being perceives itself through the soul. The soul is the reflective organ of existence. The soul is not the possessor of experience, but the site where being becomes luminous to itself. Every perception, emotion, and thought is being's way of looking into its own texture, a divine act of self-reflection. The dynamics of experience. The dual dynamic. The movement of being unfolds us. The movement of being unfolds as both freedom and distortion, clarity and contraction. When free, experience opens outward, inquiry flows effortlessly into new forms. When distorted, experience repeats itself, closing into patterns of fixation. Both modes are expressions of the same dynamism, differing only in the degree of openness to being's finality. Both modes are expressions of the same dynamism, differing only in the degree of openness to being's fluidity. The function of inquiry. Inquiry is the art of adjusting the focal setting of awareness. To inquire is to turn the lens by which reality appears. Each question opens a new dimension of space, revealing the hidden continuities between the inner and the outer. Inquiry transforms knowledge from accumulation into spacious presence, a way of seeing that frees rather than fixes. The unconditioned essence. Essence is what remains when all self-concepts dissolve. Essence is not an inner object, but the quality of being undivided. It is the transparency of consciousness freed from history. When all images fall away, awareness remains luminous presence, the simplicity of being what one already is. The architecture of space, the sky of awareness. Space is not emptiness, but the living openness within which all phenomena arise. The sky is the first metaphor of being, infinite yet local, transcendent yet overhead. Every object, thought, or feeling floats in the unbroken continuum of awareness space. To contemplate space is to glimpse the groundless ground that holds everything without holding. All solidity is the result of a fixed focal setting. Objects appear opaque only because perception has forgotten its flexibility. Change the setting and solidity becomes transparency, revealing depth within form. Being is the continuous fluid of settings, the freedom to refocus without rupture. The great space, every bounded space, is nested within a larger, more accommodating one. Reality is not flat but concentric. Each enclosure opens into another. Each limit curves towards greater inclusion. At the outermost horizon or innermost center lies great space, the infinite field of accommodation, where object and subject dissolve into pure openness. The ontology of the edge, the border and the boundary. Every manifestation of being takes form at an edge. Borders define, boundaries reveal. A border is a geometric act, clear, abstract, humanly imposed. A boundary is organic, porous, shifting, and alive. The world exists not as fixed form, but as the shimmering vibration between these two, the measurable and the immeasurable. The Mississippi principle. No river is a line. Seen from a height, the Mississippi appears as a stroke across land. Seen from within, it is an endless interplay of currents, eddies, mud, and mist. To reduce the river to a border is to deny its life. So too with being. What from afar looks fixed from within is fluidity itself. The vagueness of truth. The world's edges are vague by nature. Vagueness is the signature of life. Geometry idealizes what perception feels. The irregular, the blurred, and the wandering contour are not errors, but affirmations of being's refusal to be reduced. Vagueness is the living breath of form. The porous edge. Boundaries belong to what they enclose, yet they open outward. Each being's edge is both skin and threshold. It defines identity while allowing exchange. The human body, the coastline, the cloud, all are examples of this sacred porosity. The return to presence, the spiral path, the journey of consciousness is not linear ascent, but the recursive return. Each act of inquiry circles back to the origin. Growth is the repetition on a higher octave, the same movement seen through deeper space. To return is not regression, it is awakening to the continuity that never ceases. The unity of containment and release. Borders close, boundaries open, both belong to being's pulse. Manifestation alternates between definition and dissolution, between the architecture and the oceanic. Every structure of mind, world, or self exists only to be permeated by what exceeds it. The final transparency. At the highest vantage, all things are seen as space revealing space. What we call existence is space projecting space into space. The knower, the known, the act of knowing are facets of one infinite lucidity. To see this is to rest at last as being's own awareness of itself. What we call existence is space projecting space into space. The knower, the known, and the act of knowing are facets of one infinite lucidity. To see this is to rest at last as being's own awareness of itself. The edge of inquiry. The treatise is a border between written as a boundary. The treatise itself is a border written as a boundary, a map drawn on water. Its purpose is not to enclose. It's not to enclose truth, but to invite openness, to function as a porous edge through which being reflects upon itself. And that's what we're going to close with. The edge of inquiry's purpose is not to enclose. It's not to enclose truth, but to invite openness to function as a porous edge through which being reflects upon itself. That is the end of part 5 of Fractal Islam. This was parts taken out of Cusp Traces and Veils, written by me, Abe Zucca. You can check out my art at zuccagallery.com. You can also Google my name, Abe Zucca. And if you happen to be in Phoenix, you can check out my gallery at 1301 Grand. I'll see you guys later.